Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to the third part of rating the new X and Y Pokemon. We only have a few left to go, so without further ado, let's get into them. So, first up today, we have two Pokemon which are obviously connected because one evolves into the other. So on the left, we have the first form, which is Inkay, who then evolves into Malamar on the right. Malamar's very jinxy feel about her. Seems to remind me a lot of the freaking witch from The Little Mermaid, whatever the hell her name was. I don't remember. People in the comments will know. But I get that feeling, like that underwater evil witch beast with the hair. The hair is doing it. Ursula. That's the one. Ursula. She's like Ursula from The Little Mermaid. God damn. That's what it reminds me of anyway. It has a beak though. Rather interesting, but these are very interesting looking Pokemon, and from looking at them you would think they would have some kind of water typing, right? But neither of them are water type at all. They're in fact Dark Psychic, which is a type combination that we have actually never seen before, and that's great. I do like Game Freak, you know, going out there and doing different things and changing up type combinations, because so often we get similar ones each generation. That having a variety and seeing what other kind of types can be viable is fantastic. So Dark Psychic, it is neutral, or in terms of taking damage, it takes neutral damage from most things. It only has two types where it's going to kind of stand out. Psychic, of course, it's going to be immune to because it is part dark, and it unfortunately has a 4 times weakness to bug moves, kind of suffers the same fate as Celebi. But that's about it. So it's okay, it's alright, but I think it has more interesting options in terms of support, especially seeing as the two moves that we know it gets access to so far are both kind of support moves. One of them being Hypnosis, which Malamar gets. I'm not sure if Inkay gets it or if it's like a move that is gained after evolution, or maybe it was just used in a trailer and that's why it's confirmed. And the second move is a brand new move known as Topsy Turvy, which is really rather interesting. So what this move does is it's a dark type move, and it essentially takes all stat changes on a Pokemon that you're against and flips them. So say you're facing down a Clefable that has +6 cosmic power, it has +6 special defense and defense. Use Topsy Turvy, suddenly it has -6 and -6 on both, which is, wow, that's going to screw that kind of defensive Pokemon, honestly. It's really going to hurt things like Clefable and things that try to Cosmic Power. More so on those kind of things, less so on like Swords Dancers, because of course if you're going to fight something that is boosting itself offensively, you have to be able to take a hit before you can reverse the stats. Unless of course this thing has ridiculous speed, in which case it would be able to go before that Pokemon and reverse the stats, and then they would be able to do nothing. So if this thing gets high speed, which could potentially happen, it could be a crippling Pokemon. Getting rid of Nasty Plots and Swords Dances, as well as being able to stop the defensive things. Wow, that sounds awesome, and I'm certainly very interested in seeing something like that, because kind of puts a whole new spin on things, stops stalling Pokemon, things that curse as well, which are always a pain, and, you know, completely screws Cosmic Powers. So I do like that move, and I'm very interested to see where it goes, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So let's move on to the ability, and it actually has 2 abilities listed, the first being Contrary and the second being Suction Cups. We all know what Suction Cups does. Fantastic ability if you have kind of boosting moves. It means you can't be roared out. Obviously if you like set up a sub or something, you can't be roared out or well-winded out, which is great, just sticks you in there. I think Cradley's the only notable Pokemon which really uses it competitively. But the first ability, Contrary, is one that stirred up a lot of controversy in this generation. You know, Serperior has access to it, and it's really the only Pokemon that can use it properly. There's no other Pokemon that really do well with it. But if Inkay/Malamar gets access to a move like Leaf Storm, that would be kind of ridiculous, because, you know, Contrary is a dangerous move in the right hands, and potentially, you know, when the moveset for these guys get revealed, it could be devastating. So we're going to have to watch out for this one. It could be I mean, this thing looks like it's going to be fantastic support-wise, potentially fantastically offensively, and unfortunately we don't have its stats, so we don't know how good it's going to be in terms of defense either. It could be bulky as well. I don't know, guys. It's looking really good. Like, I think from an aesthetic standpoint, it's also appealing to me, so I've got this pretty high up, honestly. I think it's pretty damn cool from a competitive standpoint and from an aesthetic standpoint. I like it. So I'm going to give it a solid 8.5. I'm going to give it 8.5. I was going to go 8, but I decided I like it more than that. It's an 8.5. And I'm very excited to see where this Pokemon goes. I'm more focusing on Malamar than Inkay, honestly, because it is the evolved form, and that's the one that you use competitively. Obviously, Inkay can be used in Little Cup, but I don't really play that. So that's going to be that for this pair. Let's move on to the second pair that we have. Okay, so I've put this pair together because they are a bunch of version exclusives, meaning that one of them is exclusive to one game and one of them is exclusive to the other. The Pokemon on the left is Spritzy, the little bird guy, and he is exclusive to Pokemon Y, and the one on the right is Swirlix, who is exclusive to Pokemon X. So they both are very similar because they're both like kind of baby Pokemon. They're very small. They both have this little thing sticking out of their body, which looks like a foot, and it's kind of like Flabébé. Swirlix especially because it only has one of them, but the bird has a couple, I guess, because it does have real feet. Not that that's really something significant to talk about, but they're both fairy type. They're both pure fairy type. They don't have a secondary type, and I'm expecting that perhaps they'll gain a secondary type when they evolve, if they evolve, or maybe they'll just keep it. Who knows? But yeah, they're both very small. They both seem like baby Pokemon, or an initial evolutionary stage Pokemon that you'll find kind of early in the game. I guess that they both have interesting abilities, though they're not very useful. The first one, Swirlix, has a new ability called Sweet Veil, which prevents your allies from going to sleep. I'm pretty sure it covers yourself as well, but this is mainly an ability used for doubles and triples battles, so you can stop any kind of sporing or sleep powdering as long as Swirlix is in battle. It means that there won't be anything going to sleep on your end of the field. And then Spritzy has a similar kind of thing in the ability Healer, which is an ability that's turned up before in previous generations. And that ability is, again, for doubles and triples battles, and it has a 30% chance of, healing status ailments on your allies. So a little bit like Shed Skin, I guess, but for multiple Pokemon. So those are the abilities. In terms of the moves, we have a new move for Swirlix. I guess Swirlix is getting all the new stuff. Its new move is called Draining Kiss. It is a fairy type move, and it is currently unknown how powerful it is, or whatever that's going to be, like how much PP and stuff. We can assume, however, from the name that it's going to be like Drain Punch. It's going to sap HP from an opponent and to take it back to you, heal you up. And then the move that Spritzy has is Aromatherapy, and everyone knows what Aromatherapy does. Pretty self-explanatory. So that's those guys. They're okay, they're kind of cute, they're not too interesting for me, because when I'm looking at these Pokemon, I'm thinking from a competitive mindset, and at the moment, they aren't really doing anything for me. So, I guess I'll give them, like, a 4.5. Not great, not terrible, but they're just kind of sitting there. They just kind of exist. They just kind of are, let's say. And that's that. I guess, from an aesthetic standpoint, they don't really stand out to me either. I mean, one of them's a fucking piece of cotton candy, so not a huge amount of imagination going in here, but that's that. So without further ado, we'll move on to the final Pokemon that we're going to talk about, and here we go. So our final Pokemon is the one that we basically know the least about. Its name is Uroto, which I believe is the Japanese name. It does not have an English one yet. It was revealed at the start of the new movie, the Extreme Speed Genesect movie, and it was apparently shown in a Horde battle, and that's kind of the screenshot we have of it. Horde battle is a pretty cool thing, actually. I haven't really talked about those, but yeah, I think that's going to be interesting. However, we're going to talk about the Pokemon and not the Horde battle. This guy looks like a fucking badass. He's like Pseudo-Woodo on crack. Going ridiculous. He's an Ent. He's a tree. He has grass, and oh, he just looks great. Certainly from an aesthetic standpoint, I like him a lot. Visually appealing. This giant eye in the center, personifying the tree. and, you know, not too much grass, but in the appropriate areas, you know what I'm saying? So, he's looking pretty cool. We honestly don't know anything about him, so let's just wildly speculate, shan't we? I don't think he's going to be an evolution from Sudowoodo or anything. I just think he's like some kind of standalone Pokemon. I feel that offensively he's going to be pretty capable. Seems like the perfect Pokemon to give Woodhammer, don't you think? Physically, certainly, I think he's going to be a physical powerhouse. And, you know, up there in the speed too. I don't think this guy's going to take a defensive role anytime soon. So that's going to be that. In terms of typing, there are a few options that he could potentially be. Obviously, grass is going to be one of them. If it isn't, then I don't know what's going on. But dark grass is a possibility. He does have those dark stripes. He looks pretty evil. So something like Shiftry, perhaps. I think more interesting, though, would be ghost grass. And looking at the eye does give me that kind of Dust Noir feel. Like, kind of ghostly aura of the forest, you know, so ghost grass would be awesome. Perhaps fairy as well. I know everyone wants to throw fairy into everything, but I don't know. I don't think fairy really fits. Fairy seems much more like a happy clappy type of thing, where this is very dark and evil, so I would like ghost grass. I think dark grass, ghost grass, one of those two. It's going to be one of those two, not quite sure which. But yeah, I really like this guy. He seems awesome. I have to give him a score. I can only really judge from the aesthetics because that's all we have. We don't know anything else about him. And I'm going to give him pretty high. I'm going to give him a 9. 9.0. Very awesome look, very awesome design, and I have pretty high hopes for how this guy's going to turn out, which, you know, seems like it's going to be pretty good. So that's going to be that. That's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. We are done talking about the new X and Y Pokemon. Of course, as always, leave me your opinions and feedback in the comments below. Tell me what you would have given these Pokemon out of 10 if you were to rate them. Of course, leave the video a like if you enjoyed it. That would be most appreciated and very helpful. And I will be back as soon as new Pokemon get announced, and we'll do more of this. I'll talk about them and discuss them and maybe have other people on as well, and who knows what the future holds, but the floodgates will open soon enough and we will know a lot more about Pokemon X and Y. But for now, that's going to be that. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, thank you for watching, and goodbye.